Hey guys, make sure to stay for the final show notes because this recipe took us in a lot of different directions. So make sure to check out the final thoughts at the end of the video. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome back to Comparison Cooking. It is January 1st, 2020, and we were challenged by our good friend Tommy over at the Gallery Backyard Barbecue to start this new year off with one of the most popular dishes that was cooked in the 2010s. And that was cast iron, butter basted ribeye steak. Yeah, how good does that sound?
I understand very little of that.
Okay.
Can you please further elaborate?
Butter sounded good to me.
So the number 5 top looked up recipe shared, liked was a cast iron butter basted ribeye, which means when you're cooking the ribeye, you're pouring the melted butter back over it with rosemary, thyme, garlic. That's our dishwasher going off, and we're just gonna keep going with it. Now, I wanted to put those exact same ingredients in a sous vide bag and see if sous vide could replicate the process. So the things we're measuring, this isn't a Tommy versus us because Tommy's a good friend and he's an amazing cook. This is just, we're trying 2 different recipes. The sous vide, we're gonna see if it really tenderized it more and made it better, or is cast iron tried and true. So, I'm gonna show you how we cook this in 3, 2, 1. one more back, and we are going to taste this. So, Mommy, Hannah, right here, we're starting off, and we're taking our first bites from the eye of the ribeyes to give it as much side-by-side comparison.
Oh gosh, that has so much flavor, but it's like great flavor. Just you can taste that immediately. Soft, but not too soft. It's just like slightly chewy, but not like the fatty kind of chewy.
Had you tried it yet?
I had not.
It melts in your mouth a bit like butter. Not as much as some of the other steaks we've tried in the past, but that melts.
Good steak.
Good steak. I picked up the rosemary, thyme, and garlic.
Definitely the garlic.
And I'm so happy I'm actually saying thyme right on camera instead of normally how I say it, thyme. Can you pick me up some thyme at the store, please, honey?
No, because the thyme doesn't exist.
All right, so that was, I would say tenderness was probably a 6 out of 10. It wasn't super tender like some of the Wagyu we've had, but it was really good. All right, let's try steak B.
That is going to be really hard to top. Okay, not very much flavor. It's not as melt in your mouth, not melt in your mouth at all. It's your classic beefy steak. That tastes really, really plain.
Agreed.
Only a little bit.
Yeah.
This one for sure.
I'm not picking up a lot of flavors, which I'm surprised about. Here, I'm going back in for another bite, and I'm gonna dip it in the sauce. So why don't you all try a dip?
Oh, that's cheating.
I'm cheating, that's all right. That sauce is money. That sauce is out of this world.
Well, that's pure butter. I don't like that.
Oh, she doesn't like it. I love it. All right. I am not picking up as many flavors.
So why does it surprise you?
I thought the cast iron. So B was a cast iron, traditional method.
And this is sous vide.
This is sous vide. I think because it was in the sous vide bag, it just took in all those flavors throughout the entire cut of beef. With this, I'm surprised. I don't know if something happened while I was cooking it, but I'm just not picking up as many flavors.
It's really dull. It's just like steak without the flavors that makes it steak.
I think something... All right, guys, sorry about that little interruption. So the results. This time around, sous vide seems to have taken the cake. It just has packed more flavor. We've done this experiment before where we did sous vide tender filet mignon versus cast iron, and the cast iron kicked its butt. But for some reason today, the sous vide just crushed it. It was super tender. It had more pop. All the flavors were out throughout it. And I'm still playing around with this cast iron one. Dipping it in the butter sauce is out of this world. It's not Hannah's cup of tea, but Mommy and I, we are downing that because that is delicious. Either way you want to do it, it is a win. There's a reason it was the #5 recipe of 2010 to 2020. It is delicious. But sous vide, everybody's starting to buy a sous vide and give it a try because this time, for us, it took the cake. So Tommy, thank you again for throwing out this channel. Everyone, please make sure to check out Tommy's channel. He is an amazing chef. He can do it all, and he's got some really cool recipes out there.
How do you spell that?
Chef?
No, how do you spell his channel?
I'm going to put it on the screen. Description's down below, and you'll know how to find Tommy. Everybody, have a great day.
I'm about to go subscribe.
Hey guys, some final show notes. So we just did this experiment that Tommy told us we should try, and the flavor profile just was totally out of balance, and I couldn't figure out why. So I kept going back to the steak, and I figured it out. In Tommy's video, you will see that when he sears the steak on the cast iron pan, the sear in the middle of the steak wasn't getting pressed down because of the bone. So when I started to eat this steak, we ate from the part when we did the comparison that had the least amount of sear. With that least amount of sear gave the least amount of flavor. And when we did the sous vide steak, the whole thing, when it seared really nicely throughout the entire steak. It didn't have any problem. So in Tommy's video, you'll see that he pressed down to make sure the sear got throughout the steak. And that sear, I think, is what created such a different flavor profile. When we got to the parts of the steak that had a lot of sear, the flavor profile started to be very, very similar. So either way you do it, it's gonna turn out. but the tip we learned is make sure when you're testing a steak and cooking it to have a sear on all sides. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next week.